All right, on behalf of my team, Ferdinal, Oktavianus, and Nopriyasman, okay, representing them, we would like to speak about space, time, and architecture, exploring the urban narrative of Jakarta. This paper is actually located in the domain of literature and social issues. Yeah. In this short presentation, we organize our speech into some section. First, we begin with some background of this research, problems, method, result, and discussion, and conclusion. So in Indonesian context, especially narrative or stories that talk about Jakarta, in some cases, Indonesian authors use literature as a tool to criticize the situation in Indonesia, especially in Jakarta. Now, again, in Indonesian context, literature is not only used by literary critics, but also by architects in different ways, of course, right? So our research is looking at how Indonesian authors use literature as a social critics. Yeah. In this case, we concentrate on one short story written by Ahmad Tohari, one of Indonesian prominent authors. He's still alive, in which he is more interested in representing the social issues, especially inside of the poor in Indonesia. Okay, if we compare a little bit, so literature by some Indonesian authors is used as social critic versus literature in some cases are used as a source of creating city architecture in Indonesia. But we choose the first one. Especially in the short story entitled Anak ini mau mengencingi Jakarta. That's the name in Bahasa Indonesia. If we translate, it's a little bit something like this, okay? A child who wants to pee on Jakarta, something like that, if we translate into English, okay? So in this particular story, Ahmad Tohari, okay, tried to critique actually the application, the use of time and space in Jakarta, especially how Indonesian government, Jakarta city government, especially, okay, deal with the environment. So we apply to concept and estrangement and naturalization to see how this story deal with this issue. So criticize this issue. This story is for sure, it's not the only story that deal with that one. There are some other stories which basically try to criticize the government policy, right? So perhaps all the eyes in the world now look at Indonesia, right? So in which in some time, in some cases, right, Indonesian government okay, did something not correct. So in this case, authors try to criticize, to critique, okay, the inappropriateness of policy. So if we can say, Ahmad Tohari, in this case, used his work to channel his criticism, to fight against the injustice that happened to the poor in Jakarta. Okay. So by describing the city architecture, especially the train station, the life along train station in Pasar Senen, Jakarta. So we concentrate on two problems. The first one is how the concept of estrangement or alienation is used to critique the government policy on the use of space in Jakarta. And the second one, how the concept of naturalization is used to represent people's perception on the government policy. So to do that, we concentrate especially on the story Anak ini mau mengencingi Jakarta, a question mark here. Okay, and then we use a qualitative approach and textual analysis. We concentrate on the text and then analyze and find, okay, the theme that deal with such use of space in Jakarta. And then we apply literary structuralism and the concept of estrangement and naturalization. Okay, then when we look at the result, okay, we focus on three things: social critics, and then how the concept of estrangement is applied in the story, and then how the concept of naturalization is applied as well. Okay, we begin with the first one, social critique. So if we can summarize, okay, so for Ahmad Tohari, the author of this short story, the encounter between alienation and naturalization in short stories about Jakarta form an image of the city between marginalizing of the poor and using the space of telling the identity and a way of survival. So in this case, literature become a medium that record the story record, as well as criticize the experiences of urban human, especially in Jakarta in 2010, yes, about 2010. Then, when we look at alienation or estrangement, stories set in Jakarta illustrate the process of alienation of the characters due to the pressure of urbanization, social inequality, and the loss of human relationship amid the people, the city life. So the poor live in Jakarta, they survive in Jakarta, but basically, Ahmad Tohari would like to say that they don't belong to Jakarta. Yeah, so they are alienated in their home themselves, okay, in the place they grew up, but it seemed that they don't belong to that place. So for him, the city become a foreign space, even though they live there, but it's foreign to them. So evoking a sense of the displacement and alienation. So they are alienated by the people of Jakarta themselves, even though they are part of it. Yeah, but in terms of sense, they are alienated. They are foreign to the place there where they live themselves. Okay, then when we look at naturalization, so naturalization of urban life emerges through inner adjustment and narrative that depict Jakarta as part of reality that must be accepted and even celebrated. Okay, so Ahmad Tohari seems to argue, criticize that, okay, so the differentiation between the poor and the non-poor in Jakarta is something natural. So the poor just need to accept that. That's reality. Yeah, something real, normal, okay, just accept. Right, so Ahmad Tohari wanted to tell the readers that it should not be normal. It must be different. But when we look at the behavior of the characters, right, it seems that is okay, all right? So the have live there, the poor live here, okay? So they live themselves, we live ourselves. We have nothing to do, no connection at all, even though they are part, actually, yeah? So if we look at the story itself, is about, a family, a small family, a son of 5 years old, 5 or 6 years old, and then a mother and father live along the trail of the train station in Pasar Senen, Jakarta. And so they every day they look at people coming in and out of the train, okay, with different occupation, different lives. So they enjoy the life, they go everywhere they want to go, but they themselves just sit there, okay, even time at certain point, okay, they have nothing to eat, or if they ate, just eat a little bit. Even in the story, it's tell that they share a pack of noodle, okay? So they have a pack of noodle to eat the breakfast, okay? They eat together, the three of them, okay? Just eat a little bit of that one. That's the way they live themselves. Why in front of them, people even throw food in front of them. So this discrepancy is seen by Ahmad Tohari is something not real. Something should not be just accepted as normal. It should be criticized. Yeah. So this is evident is how characters short story begin to internalize noise, traffic jam, even symbolic violence as normalcy of urban life. Then we come to conclusion at that one. All right. So even though it's just a short story, but when we read it, when we look at it, it has a deep meaning in which, okay, look at the exposure of injustice in the big city of Jakarta, where the poor and the non-poor live together, but one is alienated, okay, and one should feel normal. The life should be normal and nobody to blame. So if we can say another one, all right. So Ahmad Tohari wanted to say, so someone should be blamed or an institution should be blamed. So for Ahmad Tohari, the government should be blamed for that. Why should be two group of people, one living in one place, another one at the same place, but they live in a very different gap. One is very rich, one is very poor, but they don't connect to each other. So this is not normal. That's what the essence of the story that Ahmad Tohari wanted to say, actually. You're going to say a little bit more. So stories set in Jakarta illustrate the process of alienation of the characters due to the pressure of urbanization, social inequality, and the loss of human relationship amid impersonal city life. The city become foreign space, even inhabited, evolving a sense of displacement and alienation. On the other hand, naturalization of urban life emerges through inner adjustment and narrative that depict Jakarta as part of reality that must be accepted, even celebrated. Yeah, so we read the story, the poor characters in the story even celebrate their poverty. Okay, they enjoy their poverty themselves. So it's evident in how the characters in the short story begin to internalize noise, traffic jam, even symbolic violence as the normalcy of urban life. Yeah. So this research is limited in many aspects, okay, because it concentrates mainly on the short story plus some other short stories, okay. So if I have another chance to do similar research, perhaps we need to look at more stories that depict Jakarta in terms of discrepancy between the poor and the rich, or the have in Jakarta, looking at the issue of estrangement and naturalization. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.